Here we go. What's going on, people? Welcome to episode 28 of the X podcast. Not the double XP. This is the X podcast.
Oh, come on now. What the hell?
Thanks for rocking with us. Episode 28 of the double XP podcast. If you're listening on Podbeans or iTunes, much appreciated. If you're listening or watching on the TiC Network channel, thanks for rocking with us. And if you are live, much appreciated. So I know it's been a while since we've been around, but the boys are back, the girls are back, the crew is back together, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to start off with the introductions, of course, with my light-skinned brother from somebody else's mother, Mr. Nickodemus X.
Yo, what's good? What's good, everybody? It's Nickodemus, the king of indies himself, and I'm just now getting over LA, man. I did some things in LA that I'm not proud of, but I made it back, and I'm good now.
You did some things like what? Go on, if you can't make a statement like that and not fess up, you gotta tell us what you did.
Did you finally get tired of women?
Get drunk at.
I'm gonna say.
I know Bethesda. I know how they get down.
Yes. I'm gonna say there was too much drinking and not enough me remembering what happened. Just
Oh wow!
shout out to the 7 dislikes we got once the thing went up yesterday.
Wow.
Shout out to the one person with 7 Gmail accounts. We appreciate you, bro.
He is.
Man, I don't even get it. No.
We appreciate the engagement. The engagement. We appreciate
it because it counts regardless.
It does. It really does.
Next up, we got my right hand, one man, Miss 2V1 herself, Mamacita.
Well, I wish I could say that I did some things in LA that I'm not proud of, but I can't say that. Because I didn't do anything I'm not proud of. I kept it clean. I kept it good. I kept it wholesome.
You kept it classy, fam?
I tried to.
And I know how she is.
Say what?
Girl, man. I saw you with Miss Tech, and I know how she is. You got into some trouble.
Oh.
What's funny is because a couple of folk thought that I knew Miss Tech Not Fancy before I got there. They was like, I was like, no, we had just met at the Xbox Fan Fest. I mean, we had podcasts together a few times, but I that was the first time I had met her. So, but I had an awesome time. LA is absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive. I couldn't get enough of that. Touring the Hollywood stars, and the food was absolutely exquisite. It was just fabulous. Well, not all the food. There was a diner though that I checked out that just wasn't too good, but it was just beautiful. The traffic is atrocious. I don't know how you guys drive in that LA traffic.
Yeah. Facts.
Gee whiz. But I had a great time. I really did. So, I mean, we can, I don't know if we're going to spend how much time we're going to spend on that. And then of course, Xbox Fan Fest, being, the royal treatment. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I hope this doesn't sound like I'm trolling or I'm fangirling, but Nickodemus and Fame PlayStation experience does not equate to Xbox Fan Fest. Okay.
So
let's just.
How you say that? I'm intrigued. What makes you say that though?
There is no comparison.
No comparison? What?
No, I have
hold on. Let's come back to that because we still got one more introduction. I'm gonna let y'all get back to that.
Okay.
I need to hear about
last but definitely not least, Crunk Girl. What's happening?
Man. Nothing much, man. I'm excited, man. I've been waiting for the crew to get back together. We got a lot to talk about. It was a lot of people talk shit about E3, but I thought I had a good time watching the different shows and a whole bunch of new games and ideas and seeing the community that I know, like the people that I actually know, having a great time. So yeah, man, it's been good, man. I've been sitting here just watching trailers and getting excited for all these Christmas presents we're getting in 2018.
Yeah, we definitely gonna cover that because 2018 seems to be stacked. But I do want Mod to go ahead and educate the people in the world on why FanFest is better than PlayStation Experience.
Yeah, please enlighten us. I want to hear this. And she's gone.
She gone.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Whoa. All right.
Well, since she can't, basically respond and tell us why, what she said was a total lie.
Go ahead, defend it, Nick. Defend it to the death of you.
Yeah, what? No, it was a total lie.
Mamacita? What? Oh, okay.
Yo, she went like.
Oh no! There she go. She'll be back. There she go.
Wait, there she go.
She having problems, fam.
She having problems.
She got to tell us later.
We're gonna go ahead and jump onto these topics today. Let's start off with Sony. There's some interesting things came out from one of y'all's favorite executives, Nickodemus X, and this kind of should hit you a little bit close to home.
Yeah.
So apparently, the reason, and I know Nick pointed this out when it was happening, there was no indie scissor reel, is because there's a particular person at Sony who doesn't feel as if that's important, that they are irrelevant. And I want to know what the king of indies thinking about Sony taking a poo-poo on indies when they used to love indies.
I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah. So Jim Ryan, he's been putting his foot in his mouth quite a bit lately. And with the conference, one of the things I did touch on that I did not appreciate, besides some of the games that they showed, was the fact that they did not highlight in any indie games in comparison to Microsoft's conference. So I was very disappointed about that. And then Jim Ryan did state that showing indies and like kind of talking about them, highlighting them to this degree is irrelevant right now, because they basically, this ain't his exact quote, but this is what I got from it. They basically have moved on to bigger and better things. He stated that in 2013, 2014, it was important for them to talk about it at that time to solidify that the Ps4 is, supporting indies and stuff like that. Now that they've got PSVR and the AAA games and stuff like that, it's not important. It's irrelevant to talk about that right now. And I feel a certain type of way about that because I feel like, the indies obviously are relevant. They are very important. They are the core of gaming to me. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the indie games we get and we see this whole generation have been better than a lot of the AAA games. When AAAs were shitting on everybody and giving you half-ass games and stuff like that for $60, $80 and stuff, indies were providing a complete experience for a good price. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us fell back on the indies because the AAA was doo-doo in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So to basically discount indies in such a way, I don't feel right about that. I don't like the way Sony is treating the indies right now. Yeah, there's plenty of indies on the PlayStation platform and stuff like that. But the thing about indies is they need the most exposure. They need more exposure than AAA and stuff. And that's why I used to like about Sony is that they would take the time to highlight these great games, because otherwise we wouldn't even know about them a lot. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know about these gems, and they like a lot of indie devs, they depend on big time publishers to help promote this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of freaking money involved in marketing and promoting and all that stuff. So I feel like Sony is really, dropping the ball on these indies, and somebody needs to stick a freaking sock in Jim Ryan's mouth because this man is making everybody look bad right now. So yeah, I feel a certain type of way about it, man. I don't care, what people feel like, oh, indies not important. You shouldn't show indies at E3. I've heard all that bullshit. I totally disagree.
I got you. Crunk Girl, what you think about your boy Jim Ryan, man? Nick said put a sweaty sock in his mouth.
He needs to
put a dirty sock in his mouth.
He needs to do what Sony has been doing, and that is shut up. Don't say nothing. Like, saying nothing has helped you a lot. Like, don't speak. Just let everything that's happening speak for you. This is what I was so afraid of when I kept telling people I do not want Sony or their executives to get the big head, because I don't want them to do what they did last generation and fall off and then have to depend on themselves to get out of the hole that they're in. They need to be more humble. Jim Ryan needs to shut up. Like, it just like, don't be a hypocrite, because for the first few years you loved indies, and all of a sudden now you don't love them no more, but you still like, you can't have it both ways. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people were sticking with Sony was because of the indies, because some of these indies that they were pushing were really good indies and were really good games. There were a ton of new indies this year that I liked that were on Microsoft stage and Sony showed in the pre-show. And I'm like, Sony, why didn't you show some of these games in your regular show, be like you always do, because Sony fans like Nick or me or some of the other people in Sony that like something like that, like the PS4, were looking for those types of games to be in the show and to be highlighted. Like games like Matterfall, I feel could have had more time. At least what they showed on the pre-show should have been in the main show.
Yeah, I agree.
And all of those games that were shown could have been games that could have been added to these are the ones that are coming out this year. And then we got the 2018 games. And you would have balanced it out more than what they did. And I didn't like how Jim Ryan came out real cocky, like, please shut up. Like, shut up.
Where did this guy come? Where did he come from?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Like, whose man's is this?
Jim Ryan's been around, but he's been quiet, and he should stay that way.
Was this the same guy who came out and gave the reason why they're not doing crossplay? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it him? He gave a statement?
I don't know, because I don't know if that's the same guy.
I don't know, man. This is the first time I actually paid him any attention. So
because
I don't know if the same guy.
Sony has been perfect all generation with their PR stuff, right? And then this last month has been like footing them out with the whole crossplay thing.
Well,
I mean, say you don't want to do it. Don't say think of the children. Thinking of the children. That's a horrible excuse when you got Nintendo doing it.
He tried.
Yeah.
They tried to spin that shit was crazy. But the reason why they're not doing it, I don't understand it, but I do understand it because last generation, we tried it, and you know why we tried it? Because we was down, we went up top, and we didn't have our chest out. And Microsoft was like, hell no, we ain't doing that. So now that we up above and we winning right now, whatever, they not doing that. They not. I'm telling you, just being a fact.
Well, give a better excuse than think of the children. You can't say that when the children.
No. I'm not saying that. Wrong. Like that. They could.
Shout out to Rambo's Corner. He said, yeah, it's the same person. It was Jim Ryan's one.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't.
Yeah, he needs to sit down and shut his ass because that's one of the problems. See, I like Phil Spencer, right? I think Phil Spencer's an upstanding guy, and I spoke with Nick when he got back from California, and Nick, told me, he thinks Phil Spencer's an upstanding guy. He liked the guy, but sometimes I think Phil needs to shut up, and I think Sony has been perfect this whole year with their PR. They got this one guy who can't keep his mouth closed. Or he can't go by the book.
And why hasn't Sony rebutted what he said? Came out with a statement and said, no, that's not true. I mean, he's obviously getting a lot of heat and attention for what he's saying. So why hasn't Sony came out and say, we clear it up or something at least?
Know what needs to happen? Stop talking and let Yoshida talk. If it ain't Yoshida or somebody who we don't know, don't talk.
Let me tell you about let me tell you about your man Yoshida, the guy I used to call the guy I used to call Uncle Shu. Okay, let me tell you about your man Yoshida real quick. Okay, so Yoshida at E3 had some type of chip on his shoulder, man. Like Yoshida did not want to shake hands with anybody. Yoshida didn't want to take pictures with nobody. I don't know what type of listen, I don't know what type of day Yoshida was having, but I saw him and I was like, hey, what's going on? I was like, what's going on, Shu? And he looked at me and he barely wanted to shake my hand, bro. Like he rolled his eyes at me, man, and he was like in a rush. He was in a rush. He was like just taking off, and people trying to get pictures with him. He's like, no pictures. Leave. I gotta go. Leave me alone. Like I don't know what crawled up his butt that day, dog. But that was my first impression of him. And first impressions they stick in my mind for a long time. My first impressions of Uncle Shu wasn't so homely.
He's usually not like that though. That's weird. He's usually not like that.
I don't know what was going on with him, man. But that was
having a jacked
he did not want to. And then on the flip side, I saw Uncle Phil. I call Phil Spencer Uncle Phil now because he's a stand-up guy. I saw him and he had bodyguards all around him. Phil Spencer, he's pretty stacked, you know what I'm saying? As far as like muscles and stuff goes. So he had his chest down and stuff. He had bodyguards around. He looked like the freaking president walking around there, but he was like shaking everybody's hand and stuff. Hey, how you doing? You want a picture with him? He's like, yeah, come on in, get a picture. So he was like the total opposite of Shu, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm not saying that that's Shu's personality or nothing like that. I'm taking it a bit extreme, but that day something was wrong with my man Shu.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he was at PSX and we met him actually outside of PSX one time, and he was cool. So maybe I don't know, but you know what? Though most of the people that were extremely friendly were like Adam Boys and what's his name? The guy for the Vita. That always wears the hockey jerseys and shit. Like he's cool. They like all of them are mad cool. So I don't know. Shu must have been having a bad day or something. Because he's usually not like that.
I think the whole aura around E3 is trying to get Nick to make Xbox his primary console.
Hey,
he was doing everything about Xbox way too much.
I don't know, 2018 looking so right, boy, for everybody.
Hey, let me speak on that though, man. Because like, yeah, to me, Microsoft had the better conference or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Games are games to me. And if I'm like, ecstatic and hyped for a game, regardless what platform is on, I'm going to be hyped for it. And they just show more games that I'm into at the conference. And then also on the showroom floor, also there was an atmosphere there to where it seemed like Microsoft was more like inviting. Like they had a good section where they had a lot of indie games they were showing off and stuff. And, a lot of like AA titles. And of course they had the AAA titles, but they had more variety even on the showroom floor in their area. On the flip side, on Sony's side, it was mainly like the big titles, really like Call of Duty, Battlefront, all that stuff. That was the main thing they had. They didn't really have a section for like the smaller titles. I mean, they had Matterfall over there sprinkled here and there, but I don't know. And then they had a VR, of course, but it's like they just didn't have that come home feel. Like I kept finding myself in the Microsoft section. Like I wanted to go to the Sony section and I went there a couple of times and I felt like lost. I felt like I wasn't even a part of what was going on over there. I don't know how to explain it, but I went to the Microsoft section. I was playing games over there. I played more Xbox games at freaking E3 than PlayStation games. I had that controller in my hand way more than PlayStation games. And that's just weird, so.
I don't think so. I think it's understandable knowing the types of games that you like to play. I would think that you would be in Microsoft's area.
Yeah.
Show more.
Yeah. I'm just used to Sony. I'm just used to Sony highlighting those though.
Yeah, for someone like me, for instance, I probably would be in Sony's little area because a lot of their games I like, and I'm not a crazy indie fan like that, so I probably wouldn't. But knowing me, I'd probably be everywhere because listen, I saw so many games that are coming out this year that look so good. Oh my God. As a gamer, I'm excited. Everybody is like so doom and gloom. And I'm like, yo, are you serious? Like, it's so many good games that are going to come out this year. Like, what? I don't know what people were expecting. I kind of do.
Yo, this year, even though a lot of E3 pertain to 2018, pretty much on both sides, and we're going to touch on that. This year still got some good games coming out. We still got Hellblade.
Exactly.
We still got Crackdown 3.
People are doom and gloom, and I understand kind of why, because the past 2 years, it seems like when Microsoft did something, Sony just took it to a whole nother level. And I kept telling people, Sony can't do that every year. They're not going to be able to. Like, they're not going to be able to just hit you with crazy shit every single year. Like, there were going to be some stumbles. Like, 2014 was a stumble. That wasn't like a fantastic year for Sony. But 2015 and 2016, now, those 2 years were crazy. Like, those were the best two conferences they've had this generation. But I knew they weren't going to hit that level every time. But I was excited for what they showed.
Before we switch topics, I need Nick to have my back on something because I said it when I saw it and people thought I was crazy. Nick,
what's that?
Tell them Super Lucky Tail is gonna be dope.
Yo, okay, let me just clear. Let me clear up any misunderstandings anybody may have about Super Lucky's Tale. I played the game. I got just hands on with it. It is running at a full 4K 60 frames per second. Let's start off with that. You know what I'm saying? The game looks absolutely beautiful. Not only does it look beautiful, it is challenging. Not only is it challenging, but the controls are so smooth and free flowing, man. So responsive. It is bringing it back to a real 3D platformer, like a real good, excellently made 3D platformer. I'm gonna say this too. I played a few minutes, about 10 minutes or so of Super Lucky Tales, and I played about 10 minutes or so of the new Crash. Super Lucky Tales is shitting on Crash Remake. It's completely shitting on it. You know what I'm saying? Because Crash, I feel like it's those same controls. It's those same confined controls, and they feel real stiff. With Super Lucky Tales, it's the type of platform I like. You know what I'm saying? It's very responsive, quick. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Super Lucky Tales is going to be that game. It's going to be the platformer that we were waiting for a long time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of platformers let us down, like Ukulele. You know what I'm saying? Everybody thought that was going to be the greatest. It was just okay. But I think Super Lucky Tales is going to bring it. You know what I'm saying?
It looked dope, but at first, though, I thought that joint was Conquer.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
In the crowd, everybody was like, Conquer! Oh.
I ain't gonna front. I thought that joint was Conquer at first.
Poor Conquer. I think we got Mamacita back. Mamacita, are you in the building?
Okay, y'all can hear me.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, you know what? I know what happened. I know exactly.
She's back. She's back.
No, Nickodemus sent all them ponies.
That pony virus.
Yes, that pony virus to get all up into my internet.
It hit you.
Get them out.
We were just about to switch topics, Mamacita, but before we do, we have to go back to something you said earlier, and I have to get that out of you on why FanFest is better than PSX. We got to know.
Okay, like I was saying, when I went to PlayStation Experience, I had to pay, I believe it was like $80 or $90 to attend. And, I there were fast food places to buy my food, to buy my drinks, whatever I wanted, I had to purchase. And there were games on the floor, of course, that I could play. And it was great and it was lovely. But the point I'm making is that the PlayStation Experience is not the equivalent to Xbox FanFest. Xbox FanFest is a whole different, another category. First of all, you don't have to pay for tickets, okay? It's free. They're like 2 days of just complete royalty. You are spoiled rotten. We were able to not only attend the Xbox media briefing, but we were also able to play the games for 4 hours on the Xbox One X, okay, while we were served, oh my gosh, a buffet of food that's like lovely, wonderful food, okay, open bar, okay, you can just walk up and get wine, or if you want, whatever drinks, mixed drinks that you want, okay, and it's just so much more elaborate. We were all given 1 year of Xbox Live Gold. Ooh. We were also given a year of the Xbox Game Pass. We were also given a Seagate 2 gigabyte hard drive, as well as the stereo headsets, the Plantronics, Dolby Atmos. When I went on Amazon, they were like $99 or something. But we were all given those, as well as other like just trinkets and gifts and T-shirts. We were just spoiled rotten. And all I'm saying is it's not the comparison. You can't compare the two. If Xbox does something to the equivalent PlayStation Experience, it is not FanFest. That's what I'm saying. FanFest is in a category of its own.
I thought you said it was like better than PSX though. I thought you were making that comparison.
Well, no, what I said was I wasn't saying that. I said you can't compare. There's no comparison.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
It's not.
Okay. So when you said that, I thought you were saying in terms as it shits on PSX. That's what I think you were saying.
Well, I'm not saying, because that's not my jargon. I don't talk like that. But what I'm saying is,
I know that, Miss Classy. Damn.
It's not about being classy. It's about, I'm not saying that if you want me to say it, I'll say it is better. It is, because it's a different standard. It's a higher level. It is not the equivalent, is what I'm saying.
So like how many people was at the FanFest? Like how many people were there?
Oh, I mean 500 tickets were given out.
But 500 people.
But yeah, and then we were bused from the locations. Okay, they had bus services for us between the Galen Center and where the meetup place. They had a specific place for us to gather, to meet and greet, where they had like food trucks outside where you can just, if you wanted, I think there were like wraps on one, and then there was like this chicken and menu on the other truck, so you could just like pick and choose where you wanted to go. We all just felt spoiled.
Yeah, it sounds to me like if you are not media and you want to go to a thing like E3 or whatever, FanFest is the thing to do. Because it seems to me like you guys played more games than any of us.
Yes, we did. We did. And then we had, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many consoles were set up for us to play. The room was just filled with rows, and they had the Xbox One X, S, and then they had the PC. And they had the PC and Xbox One X games running side by side, which I thought was kind of
so the FanFest and the PSX, there's no comparison, because the PSX is like on a big, much grander scale as far as like volume of people and stuff like this. This is like more condensed, more intimate. Yeah, this is a more intimate type of thing, so it's not the same.
It's not.
So I do want to show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems dope though. I think
it was girl.
Did y'all have scrimp? Y'all have scrimp? Y'all scrimp?
No, we didn't have scrimp.
Y'all didn't have no scrimp?
No, we didn't have scrimp.
It seemed like it was cool though, because I saw you and Miss Tech and a couple other people that was actually in the fan fest, and it seemed like y'all was having a great time. So I'm happy.
We were having a great time, and it was because we all were received as fans, and then having the Xbox team actually come out and sit with us and talk with us and engage with us, and especially the women. I have to say, when I attended the Women in Gaming meeting, Jen Page, you know, and Jasmine Lawrence, and having them come and actually sit with us and talk with us and engage with regular conversation and drink wine with us as peer to peer versus, you know what I mean, us feeling like these are execs, people of authority or position. It was just so down to earth. That's all.
That's how I felt when I met David Jaffe for the first time, and he actually sat down on, like, we were just sitting down having a normal conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with video games. That was like that was out of even going to play games and stuff. That was like one of the best moments of my life. Like, especially when you look up to these people and you actually meet them and they talk to you about stuff that has nothing to do with video games. It's just like a normal conversation. That was amazing. Like, David Jaffe like made my day. Like,
now we do got to switch topics here. I do want to go around the panel and get everyone's thoughts. So as you guys see, we are talking about the Xbox One X pros and cons. So I do want to go around the panel and get everyone's thoughts on that. Let's start with you, Nick. Pros and cons. I got an echo going on. Nick, pros and cons. Xbox One X, brother.
All right, so Xbox One X, aka Black Jesus. He came in there to offer salvation and deliverance, and I think, you know, the Xbox community got what they needed for the most part out of him. So shout out to Black Jesus. And but the Xbox One X, the pros are, yes, it is definitely a extremely powerful console for the price. I don't have a problem whatsoever with the price. I think $49.99 is a great price for this console, because like when you look at these specs compared to, let's say, something that's, you know, powerful, like a powerful PC or whatever, trying to run games at like this, you're not going to be able to build a PC for the $500 that can run games like this. I'm sorry. I see things on. I see things on Twitter and stuff all the time that say contradictory things, but when I talk to real people in real life and IT people that know their shit and stuff, you're not building a PC at $500 that can do what the Xbox One X is going to do. So for that price, I definitely think it's a pro. Also, the games, you know, that I see running in native 4K, checkerboard 4K, whatever you call it, sparse render 4K, they look absolutely amazing. I was definitely impressed to see these games on the big giant 4K screen. So the con would be for me is that I think that our obsession with resolution is trumping frames per second. And so it doesn't seem like they built this console to really account for that, because the CPU didn't really get a major bump. You know what I'm saying? They put everything else into, you know, the teraflops and all that other stuff to make sure that you can get the highest resolution possible. But as far as the CPU goes, it's still pretty weak. So that's the con for me. But that's indicative of what the community wants and what the fans wants, because everybody's always talking about resolution. So basically Microsoft, Sony, they're giving you what you want, you know what I'm saying, as a consumer. But there are some of us who would rather have games running at 60 frames on consoles consistently, finally, a stable 60, finally. But that's not the case. So that's the only con I got, really. The console itself looks great. It's smaller. That's a huge pro. I mean, to be able to fit, you know, that much, you know, power into this thing and it be so small and stuff, that was very impressive as well. So yeah, definitely more pros than cons. I was impressed with it.
Okay. Crunk Girl, pros and cons, Xbox One X.
I don't actually have too many cons. Like I said, like Nick said before, the price, I kept telling people this thing was not going to be $399. And I think you, Fame, I think me and you both were saying that this joint was going to be around $499. I think the price is legit. I'm not mad at the price, even though, I mean, who wouldn't want to pay $399? That would have been a excellent price, but $499, not bad at all for me. What they showed running on the system, I thought looked pretty good. The system is actually smaller, it's sleek. I thought that was a plus. Let's see. I didn't really see nothing bad. Like people were getting on me because I said the Microsoft show and the X looked really good, and people were just mad for no apparent reason. I really don't have any gripes with what they showed. I thought they showed what they needed to show, and from the system, from what the system looked like it's going to do, I'm happy. I just wanted to be out and about in people's hands so they can play it.
Hey, real quick before we move on to the next pros and cons, do you want to hear what KidSmoove and Cal were singing when they announced the Xbox One? You want to hear? They went to the Negro spirituals on me. They was in there. They was in there shucking and jiving, talking about what a mighty God we serve.
You lying, G.
What a mighty God we serve.
You didn't think they was doing Negro spirituals though?
Yo, they were singing the Negro spirituals with that thing.
Wow.
Well, you do call it the Black Jesus, so why not?
Yeah, no, I'm joking. They didn't do that. I was expecting them to go crazy. I was expecting them to go crazy over it, but nah, they were chill. They were chill.
It looked like after Xbox's conference or whatever, and KidSmoove came back and was on Red's live stream, she sounded more excited than he did. I'm like, damn, you ain't excited? Like, Red was excited. Like, she was like, yo, this is what I've been wanting from Xbox, and I'm excited and such. And he was just like,
before we switch real quick to just touch on that, Joe, that was the case with a few of the like hardcore Xbox fans when they came out that conference. They had the still face, and I was hyped. I was excited. I was like, I was expecting real quick. I was expecting, to see them and be like, oh, yo, that was great. And they would be like, yeah, man, that was awesome. They were a little disappointed. Like when I first saw KidSmoove before everything settled in and stuff, he was a little disappointed too. Like I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I wasn't really like that.
And he did state on his Planet Xbox last night the reason that he was disappointed. He was disappointed because 2 games got pushed back to 2018, State of Decay 2 being one. And that was, and I'm gonna be honest, I was disappointed too. Think about it. I've been waiting. We've been talking about State of Decay 2. I thought we were going to play that this fall.
Oh yeah, I was upset about that too. Yeah,
and to hear that that's not coming out, and then Sea of Thieves, I think, was pushed back as well. So some people were disappointed to hear that. So they was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to play State of Decay for me, because I was feeling that. Initially.
I was disappointed about State of Decay. That let me down. Sea of Thieves, I don't give nothing about no Sea of Thieves. But yeah, I mean, I understand from an Xbox fan perspective, you guys were waiting for these games to come out because it's so sparse over there. So you needed that. So I get it. I get it.
There you go. But I'm gonna quickly just touch on, my pros pretty much. The Xbox One X definitely being smaller. I think we can go back and forth about this power argument and where we were and where we are now. The thing about it is it's here, and it is the most powerful console on the market. And I think this is just Microsoft and the Xbox team's opportunity to bring us, games, quality games, great games running on the Xbox One that are able to utilize its full and all of its power at some point, whether that's out of the gate, down the road, however they do it. I was excited about the diverse lineup. I felt like Ashen, Black Desert, Super Lucky's Tale. I thought those were games. I think the Last Night, it just showed, just diversifying their portfolio. The Dragon Ball Z game. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, this is on the Xbox
stage right now,
and it was just great to see. As far as con for me, the only con for me is that I cannot pre-order the Xbox One X today.
There you go.
That's the con for me. That's the only con, because I'm like, okay, when can I pre-order this baby? And I have to tell you, there's a difference between not only watching that conference, and I think Nickodemus, you can attest to this, live and in person, seeing that conference on stage and live. And as well as playing the games.
Yeah. Okay. It's a big difference.
It's a big difference because when I was hearing some of the feedback, that game didn't really look, that game, I'm like, yes, it did. Yes, it does. And then when we were able to play the games, I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of us were stunned to see those games that were running in 4K. The visuals were off the hook. It was ridiculous, y'all. It was ridiculous seeing a lot of those games. So yeah, that's
agreed, Ma. Agreed.
For me, I'm pretty. I don't have too many cons, just like the rest of you guys. Number one, Mamacita hit on it that I can't pre-order it right now. They kind of hit me heavy because I thought I'd be able to pre-order it off the rip, and we don't know when the pre-order is going to be available. It's stuck through the FCC or something like that. So that was, my first con. And my second con is that this whole time I took the words true 4K as native 4K. And we're not getting true 4K. Like I knew going in, we probably wouldn't see it all the time. If that's the case, we would see mostly it'll be 1080p and it'll be 60. But to see it's going to be checkerboard and upscale 4K, that's not true 4K to me. Now, to flip that over
on what games? On all the games?
Not all the games. A lot of the games. A lot of the games.
What I'm saying though, like,
hold on. To flip it, because I don't want people running.
What games? Wait a minute. When we make statements like that, but I think we should say what games are we talking about? We shouldn't say that it's not true 4K. If there are games that are going to be running native 4K, then we need to say what those games are. If there are games that aren't going to be running native 4K, and they're going to be utilizing checkerboarding and other methods, then we should say what those games are. But just to say the console is not true 4K.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying when people say that, because I've seen that all over Twitter myself, that the Xbox One X isn't a true 4K system.
I mean, the Pro got the
What I was saying was that my cons is when they was talking about true 4K, I wanted it to be all the time. And that's not going to be the case. There's going to be some games upscaling and checkerboarding. But like I said, to flip it over to my Pros is that it is exactly what they said it was going to be, and it is the most powerful console on the market. It is the best place to play your multiplats on the console. So I think the Pro and Con kind of work hand in hand. I wanted the true 4K because in my eyes, true 4K isn't native, but apparently, true 4K also means checkerboarding and upscaling. They work hand in hand. But
a lot of the fanboys on both sides.
It kind of hurt. Exactly.
On both sides.
Another pro, I think a lot of people they kind of notice is I like the fact that they put the fans in the back, so the top looks sleek and it's absolutely gorgeous. Like the design of this console is amazing. The fact that they don't have the fans on top anymore, they put it in the back, it's absolutely amazing.
It's smaller. It looks smaller.
Exactly. Being smaller is great, but the fact that it'll be the best place, the best versions of our multi-plat games that on console, I think that was an absolute plus. That's what they said it was going to be, and that's exactly what that is. I think it's absolutely an amazing console. It's definitely be a day one for me. I expected $499. I prayed for $399, but you really can't complain because if you want the best resolution and graphics on console, that's the way to go. It's gonna cost you a little more. If you don't care about that stuff, get the Xbox One S or whatever the case may be. But I think overall, man, it was absolutely. I think everybody can agree it's more pros than cons when it comes to the console itself.
Yeah, definitely. And then as far as like the upscaling and all that stuff, who on this panel was calling that from the beginning? Who was calling that?
You also called God of War to come out this year too. So
hey, why we gotta bring up old shit? Why we gotta bring up old painful shit all the time? Like
I guess I'm not understanding what this what this debate is or conversation is about, because I'm not understanding.
Well, okay, let me just break it down from my perspective. Is that we talked about this before, and I was saying that with the Pro and stuff, there are some games that are native 4K, there's some games that are upscale checkerboard render, and I said it's going to be the same thing with the Xbox One X. I was like, you're going to have some games that are native, and you're going to have some games that are sparse rendered. That's
just more games.
That's just I can agree to that, but I was saying that from the beginning, and a lot of Xbox people and stuff like that, they were like, no, it's going to be like native, and this.
I think what they were saying is that their first party games.
No, I'm saying not on this panel. You guys weren't that damn crazy on this panel. You weren't that damn crazy. I mean, y'all been saying some crazy shit about this Black Jesus. You have. I'm not gonna lie, but you weren't that damn crazy to say every single game was gonna native 4K. Y'all didn't say that, but a lot of people were feeling that way. And I was like, nah, fam, it's not going to be that way. It's going to be similar to the Pro. This is a mid-gen refresh, and they're going to do what they need to do to make these games look the best they can. But this console is not powerful enough to have every single game native 4K. You know what I'm saying? It's just not.
I think the bigger issue, in my opinion, is the 60 frames per second. Like,
that's where I thought the native 4K thing was.
That's my only con. That's my only con, man.
That's what the thing about it with me was I had that feeling for both Sony and Microsoft, because I was like, some of these games need to be not even just Sony and Microsoft, just the whole developers in general. I was like, forget 4K. Can you at least do 1080p 60 first? Like, you can't even get 1080p 60 on these joints talking about going to 4K 30. You trying to jump, like you jumping hurdles when you ain't even jumped the one in front of it. Like,
do we know out the gate what games are going to be running native 4K 60 frames per second on Xbox One X other than Forza Motorsport?
Super Lucky Tale is the only other game besides Forza that's
native.
confirmed.
Anthem's going to use the sparse rendering technique.
What about Paladins? I know that's 4K 60, but I don't know if it's native. I know they came out and said 4K 60.
Mamacita, nobody cares about no game called Paladins.
Don't tell me what nobody care about.
Gears 4.
Don't tell me what anybody care about.
Gears 4 multiplayer would be 4K 60.
It's a game, right? And we're gamers, so we can talk about games. Don't tell me what no game nobody don't care about.
Yo, Mamacita, that's my first time hearing about that. I don't know for sure.
No, I saw them tweet it out. Paladins, they did tweet it. They tweeted out 4K 60, but I just don't know if it's native.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I just like to know the games. When we have the discussions, we know what games. And here's the thing. I sat into a developer interview, and when we asked a developer, was this particular game in, I think, no, the game wasn't Alex. Was it Alex? When we asked if they were going to take advantage of the Xbox One X power and resources, what he said is, it's just too soon right now. And so because the system just came out, that they have to, they'll have to address that later. It's just too soon. So I want to take a wait and see approach before I start saying this system isn't this, because to be honest, it's new, and unlike, I'm not quite sure how the PS4 Pro, how long the developers had that system in hand, but from being on the floor and hearing them, a lot of them, especially the mid to smaller ones, they don't even have the SDK for it. And so to ask them, or to, what are you going to do, or how are you going to take advantage? A lot of them right now are still kind of up in the air, because they're saying,
the ones I talked to is 50-50. I can confirm that Raiders of the Lost Planet, if you play that game at the freaking E3, I'm about to say PSX at E3, that's gonna be native 4K. Yeah. So
so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that we know is native 4K.
Well, I know for sure, like with the Pro.
Shadow of War is native 4K.
I know with the Pro, when it was first out, that it hadn't even got to all the developers yet when it first came out, which was kind of weird. It seemed like it was a little rushed, because that's the reason why Horizon pushed back, because they added the HDR and all that stuff late in the cycle, because a lot of the developers didn't have the actual box. So I thought that was weird. I don't know why they do that though. That seems kind of backwards, but that's just me. I don't understand why they do that. They kind of push developers behind when they do that stuff. Like I know some developers want to take advantage, but they can't because they don't have the box.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
now I do want to give a ha and the fact of Nickodemus X, because it's kind of a joyful moment when he's wrong, because when he's right, he lets us know that he's right. I mean, we all kind of have to deal with that, right? So he said God of War was coming out this year, and wrong.
No, man, that hurt, man. That was a down point for me at the conference, man. I was hurt.
It is moving to 2018, and I will say, as of right now, for both consoles, Xbox and PS4, 2018 is looking really good. But for the PS4, that joint is looking stacked with already 3 confirmed hitters coming out in the first quarter of the year.
Yeah.
With God of War, Spider-Man, and crap.
I
What am I
knew
missing?
God of War wasn't coming out this year.
When's Days Gone coming out? When's that?
Days Gone. It's
I got
2018, right?
Yeah,
No, I got a feeling that it's coming out this year, and they're gonna say something at Gamescom because they didn't get Days Gone. Didn't even get a date.
None of it got.
That's gonna be 2018.
No
way it's
going. No.
Yeah, none of it got a date.
Oh, and Detroit. When is Detroit is dropping?
Detroit 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, David Cage takes like 5 years for his games though, so I got a feeling that it ain't coming out till next year.
Nickodemus and
Yo.
Crunk Girl, I have a question for y'all. Y'all talk about some of the Xbox people were quiet coming out of the conference, right? But I want to know, how come y'all PlayStation people y'all weren't just quiet? Y'all was sneaking out the back door coming out the conference. Like y'all didn't want nobody to see y'all up in there.
Facebook for a minute.
Explain that to me, Crunk and Nickodemus.
I'll let Crunk go first.
Yeah, explain. You got some splaining to do, Crunk.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. The conference had down points and great moments. It's like I feel like every conference did this year except for Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft had the best conference. With Sony's conference, like we said before we went on air, I had issues with it, and like I said before, they have down years. Like 2014 was not the best year for Sony. And I took it. I took what they gave me, and I was like, Sony, you fucked up this year.
Was the conference actually an hour? Because I didn't watch it till 2 days later.
But
the hour long?
To me,
it was just an hour.
They showed. Yeah, I didn't like that either. And the reason why I didn't like that because their pre-show could have been in their main show, and it would have made the show a lot better.
Facts.
And
so they would have had more time.
Games in the pre-show. Every game in the pre-show is coming out this year, and I'm like, why didn't you put that in your main show? That was stupid. I don't know who made them have that great idea to put every game that was in the pre-show coming out this year not in the main show. That made
Nickodemus.
All right,
that made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, let me go ahead and.
Let me get it out though.
Go ahead.
I gave Microsoft props for their show, and I said their show was really good, and I liked Sony's show except for I think it was like maybe 1 or 2 games that they showed. I was like, why did you show that? But when it came to the actual games that they showed, I was impressed. Almost every single game that they showed, I liked coming from first party and second party. So I was good at the end of the day. I saw Spider-Man. I saw Days Gone look better than what it did last year. It looked way better. So that shows me that Sony Ben has been working.
So you didn't feel like it was a refresh, just a refresh of what you see.
I didn't like it. And I said that I was upset that they did not show a new game. I was mad at that. I was pissed off that they did not show Sucker Punch's new game. They held back. And I said that was an excuse. They shouldn't have did that. They should have just showed it. Because they got, even though I know they got PSX, they should have showed something new. And the thing is, they showed something new, but they showed it in the pre-show. I'm like, why you showed it in the pre-show? It's a new IP. That was stupid. You showed a new IP in the pre-show, and then you didn't put it in with. That didn't make no sense. And the new IPs that they did show, they were VR. They showed like 3 new IPs, but they were all VR games.
What is the deal with the hate on VR?
How is
VR? Not you.
VR, though. But that Final Fantasy fishing game should have never been up there.
Trash.
That was Final Fantasy Bass Pro Edition.
Let's be real. Like, that was some trash. But the other VR games they showed, I thought those looked dope.
I just don't like VR. To answer your question, Ma, I don't like it. I tried it so many times. I just don't like it.
Well, I don't necessarily care for it myself, but I think
I didn't hate on VR because I told Nick the Until Dawn team, they showed their new IP, but they showed it at the beginning of the show. I'm like, no, put that in the show.
Yeah,
that would have been better than that Final Fantasy fishing game.
Right. I don't know. I don't know. For me, as far as like the conference, yeah, the thing was with me, I was hyping up the conference because I was with a bunch of Xbox guys. I was rolling with TiC. So they were all, huge Xbox fans. And I was hyping up that conference like the whole day. I was like, y'all had y'all day yesterday. Today is Sony day. I don't want to hear shit about Xbox. I don't want to hear shit about Nintendo, Ubisoft, none. It's Sony's day today. You're going to see greatness. You're about to see this heat. You heard me? So we get down and watch the conference, man. And they started off for me wrong. I mean, I'm an Uncharted fan, man. But they started off showing, that damn Uncharted again. We've seen it too many times. Then they went to the freaking DLC Horizon. I know, blasphemy, but it's freaking DLC. Stop. Why are we showing DLC at a freaking conference? And then on top of that, they showed too much VR. I couldn't stand that shit. And then they didn't show a variety of games, like as far as indies or anything like that. Then they want to show Marvel vs. Capcom. What is that shit? You know, it was just so many things. Dog, it was so many things that they could have shown, like Crunk said, that I'm like, why did they choose this selection of games? So yes, I had my head down and I snuck out the back and I put that motherfucking M in my name on Twitter. Okay. Because
I wasn't doing all that now. Like,
no, I did for 24 hours.
It's Nick, is Matterfall, is that a PS4 exclusive?
Yeah, PS4 and
that's
PC.
House Smart.
Yeah. Okay. So what you think about that?
Matterfall was dope. Matterfall was dope.
They didn't show it in the main show.
They didn't.
No, but it was on the floor.
It was on the floor. I played like 2 or 3 times and it was fun. It's challenging, just like House Smart games usually are. The only thing I didn't like was the control scheme. If you remember, you had to press R1 to jump. That was awkward to me. So it took me a while to get used to it, but it was fun. I do like. I'm looking forward to that.
Like
my bad.
No. Let me get this out real quick. Like Mamacita, my thing was they should have showed the pre-show stuff within the show, and it would have made it a whole lot better. And I was a little pissed. I ain't gonna front that Microsoft or Sony didn't show any new first-party games. I was mad at that. I'm just being real for both. And I think this is the second year in a row that Microsoft has done that.
Aloy was the best thing shown at Sony's E3.
Aloy.
Because Aloy Bay.
Yeah, there was. I think there was disappointment.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Buddy.
Shadow of the Colossus made me scream in here. My mama was she was like, "What the hell you in there screaming for?" I'm like, "Ma, they just showed Shadow of the Colossus." She didn't know what I was talking about.
Did you hear Phil Spencer's explanation as to why he didn't show any first-party games?
It's the same thing he's been saying for a while, but I've been trying to tell people, and I was in other podcasts, and people want to get in their feelings and cry and start calling them type of names. I've been telling people this for months. Phil Spencer had already told people that he's keeping things closer to the vest, and he's not going to show things until they're closer to be ready to be released. So if they got games that they're working on, but they're still 2, maybe 3 years out. So you're going to wait for him to show it, which I think I'm actually okay with that as long as we get other stuff in between. Yeah. I'm okay with that. And I said, this is nothing new. I've been telling folks for the longest, and I'd have been cussed out. I call all type of names. So I'm telling people, Phil has already told y'all, if it ain't close to being released, you ain't seeing it.
I'm not going to lie that I didn't want to see it because I felt like they needed to show a new IP with the Scorpio 1X. But I also said during our podcast prior to that, to E3, I remember Phil Spencer saying on the podcast Unlocked that, if you expected me to just pull out a first party game, out of my back pocket, I just felt like he was hinting that that's not going to happen. And then when he said, okay, I could have easily shown a trailer of what we're working on, but then that would have taken resources away from the game itself. And he just didn't want to throw teasers out there. I just feel like that Phil he's not trying to do that. Let me dangle something in front of you, get you wet your whistle anymore. When he puts it out there, this is what we're going to deliver. I guess pretty much like Bethesda does. This is the game, and this is when it's coming out.
I think going forward, when you see an Xbox game, it's a big AAA game. It's coming out within a year.
For me, I think it's a pro and a con. I like what's coming.
Yeah, I'm
not gonna front. Like I love when Sony does that where they dangle something in front of me because it keeps my whistle wet and I know it's coming. Like God, even though when I saw all those 2018s, it hurt my soul. It hurt my soul. But for God of War, I knew it wasn't coming this year just for the fact that every God of War comes out in March. Every single one of them, except for one.
Yeah, how many years have we been dangled with God of War? 4, okay?
No, it ain't been between. It's coming, and same thing with
Mamacita.
Same thing with Horizon. Horizon did the same thing, but God of War comes out in March, and I knew it was coming in March.
Nah, that joint should have came this year. Screw it.
No, it should have. It should have. No, I thought Days Gone was coming this year. Days Gone should be coming this year.
I'd rather the game ship when it's ready to play. Honestly, I don't have a problem with games being delayed or pushed back. You know,
I don't either, man. But
I don't, and I don't want to be dangled. I don't want to. You don't dangle something in front of me that's I'm not going to be able to play. Oh my god!
But Sony does it all the time.
Don't put something in front of me that I won't be able.
You know what? It's time to end the show. On that note, right there. Man, you know what?
Remember, y'all, don't dangle in front of Mamacita unless she can have it now.
Don't show me a game, okay, that I won't be able to play until 3 or 4 years from now. I don't know. I don't even know if 2 years is good enough. I kind of like the year. If you're going to show it to me, I want it to come out within a year.
I don't mind 2 or 3 years. I don't mind it, but that's just me. As long as they hit me up and show me stuff in between to let me see it and put it back in the case, I'm fine.
Well, it's better, I would say this: it's better to have something to dangle than just to be bare balled.
Oh,
okay, y'all. Okay. So check it out. This has been a great episode, as usual. I promise y'all, one day we're gonna get WXP After Dark going. Because this ain't nothing compared to some of the stuff that really be said before that.
All of us need to do PSX and do a live podcast.
Jesus.
We're cracking on each other the whole time. We talk about it. Nothing relevant.
Let's get these outros going, man. First up, we got my light-skinned little brother, Mr. Nickodemus X box.
Yeah, baby. You already know I go where the indies go. I can't help it. But, man, great show, man. Great to be back with the team, whatever. I would just also like to say, go on record, it was great seeing Mamacita once again. Beautiful, beautiful woman. Always good to hang out with her, even though I didn't get to hang out with you much. But I definitely hyped to see you and stuff like that. So, but, yeah. Definitely good to be back with the team. Missed you guys, all that good stuff. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody who watched and checked us out. Hit that like button to counter the haters out there. You know what I'm saying? And peace out.
Next up, don't forget, unless you're going to let her have it now, don't dangle it in her face. Mamacita.
Oh, my God. Well, first of all, let me apologize to y'all, the team, and to my viewers for being late. I don't know what was happening. There was some technical issues, but I finally got it straight. And let me say this. My favorite game at E3, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but honestly, the one that's on the radar for me is Alex. It's an open world, like science, fantasy, RPG game. And it doesn't have like load times and there's no in-game pausing. Alex. It's Alex, E-L-E-X. I think it's T-H-Q Nordic. Okay. I believe, yes. Go to my Twitter. I tweeted out some gameplay of it. There's like 16 minutes, and you like choose like 4 factions, berserkers and outlaws and some Alps and whatever. Okay. But that game is on my radar. And I just want to say, I just as a gamer, this past 2 weeks, just hanging out with my fellow gamers and exploring my favorite hobby with them and talking about them and engaging and being able to attend E3 as a fan, as a gamer, as well as experience some media eliteness was just super fabulous for me. And I'm just appreciative and thankful that I'm here and I can say that I had that experience. So not to sound all upbeat and presidential, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
And last but definitely not least, I guess Crunk Girl will be the classy one on the show now, since it ain't Mamacita no more. Crunk Girl.
Well, before I go, I was gonna wonder if he was gonna ask for a favorite game. So Nick, before I go, what was your favorite game?
My favorite game that was shown at the press conference or to play, like, I don't know, like which one at the press conference.
It doesn't matter. Like your game, like E3, like what was your favorite game?
Oh man, that's tough. So I'm gonna have to say the game that had intrigued me the most and got me wanting to know more about it, that I've been thinking about the most, would have to be The Last Night. That game right there got me really, really intrigued. Now, as far as favorite game that I played, it's a toss-up between Housemarque's Matterfall, because that's the one I played the most. And believe it or not, I would have to say this game called Strange Brigade. That was pretty fun. I played that.
Yeah,
I played that quite a few times. That was fun. Now, Super Lucky Tales, of course, was a highlight for me as well. But I'm just basing on how many times I went back to play particular games. So, but yeah, ultimately the last night, that game looked spectacular. That was the game that intrigued me the most.
All right, well now I can do mine. I just want. I'm sorry, Fame, but since Mamacita said her favorite game, I'm like, why? I mean, I'll let Nick.
That's right. It's only fair.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it's only fair. But yeah, man, shouts out to everybody. I was excited to get everybody back together, man, and see how everybody's experience was. As a gamer, y'all all know that like E3 is like a dream, and like we never knew that we were gonna be able to go there or either be represented there, and just being around the community, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's community and video games. So shouts out to both of y'all for having a blast and representing us out there, man. I appreciate that. I had a great time. I love doing this podcast show, and shouts out to the guy that was in the chat and was like some sensible podcast. We appreciate that.
Sam, appreciate it, brother.
No
doubt.
For me, my favorite game probably was Spider-Man, because I'm a huge Spider-Man girl. I love that game. And I would say the second game probably would have to be Shadow of the Colossus. We finally getting a reasonable remake, like an actual remake of a game that if you go look at the comparisons, that game was like straight dusty. And I'm glad Blue Point is getting the chance to actually remake the game, because they do a great job. But yeah, man, y'all hit me on Twitter at Crunk Girl 711. And thanks for everybody for coming through, man. And I really enjoyed the podcast, because I love when I get on here and we can talk about sensible stuff, and you know what I'm saying, we can get it in on stuff.
We can disagree and all that stuff. It's a beautiful thing.
But we ain't talking crazy on here either. We just ain't out there just doing crazy stuff either, like some people. Like on both sides.
I think it's because we know each other like in real life to an extent. You know what I'm saying? So we know who we really are, you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I think it's easy for us not to cross certain boundaries and stuff. We don't have the protection of, the internet, because I said it before. I already know if I cross some lines, I might get smacked by Mamacita, you know what I'm saying? So see her in real life. I ain't gonna get no hug. I'm about to get that smack to the face.
Because I actually jump on the plane and fly my behind over the Texas. You in the airport, bro.
But that's family shit, though. That's family shit. That's respect. You know what I'm saying? There's respect.
That's right. That's right.
No, I like to fight. So
yeah. I like to fight too. But Fame really like to fight. Fame be ready. Like when we in these streets, don't look at Fame cross. I'm telling you, I gave a warning. To people. You know what I'm saying? You better watch what you say. I'm just saying, you never know who you're gonna run into one day.
You never know, man. I like to have fun with some people, but we're actually gonna get up out of here. This has been episode 28 of the XP podcast. Thank you guys for rocking with us. It has been fun. The crew is back. We will have guests again the next episode, but I just wanted to be, the Fantastic Four just for today's episode. But we'll be back having guests again next show. We out of here. Here we go.
All right.
Deuces.